Hey guys, welcome back to Everything versus Nerd. And first things first, you may notice I sound different. That's because I got a new microphone, so we love that. Um, but today's episode we're gonna be talking about Peacemaker. But before we do that, I'm going to yap for a little bit, so I'm gonna throw up your timestamp right here to go and skip to the review of Peacemaker. But the reason why we've been absent is because we've been having a lot of scheduling conflicts. I am a full time college student, and that's the reason why we haven't been filming the podcast because I have been busy. But I promise we will try not to do it again. We will try and get back on schedule, and we'll try and get uploads out to you guys. Alright, now let's start the review. So, this might be a bit of a controversial one. In my opinion, Season 2 was absolutely great. I loved Season 2 of Peacemaker. Now, I loved it while watching it. There are some things I don't like about it, and the finale is not one of them. More on that later. But what I do like is the idea of Peacemaker going to an alternate dimension and finding out that his brother is alive, his father actually loves him, and the people of that world love him. Like, in my opinion, that is just a brilliant idea because in the state that we find him in at the beginning of season 2, he's already in sort of a depression state. He tries to join the Justice Gang, and they reject him. They call him names and stuff like that, and it kind of makes him upset. So he does what any normal person would do, and does a whole bunch of drugs and has a party at his house. Yeah. And during that, he goes through the door and finds this alternate world where he's loved by everyone, and it's exactly what he's been looking for. And he goes through said door, and his Elseworld self finds him and tries to kill him. And then John Cena just accidentally kills his doppelganger. And that's what sort of kickstarts the season there. Now, another thing is the emotional character moments. We get some looks into Amelia Harcourt's character and how she's been doing after she got fired after season 1, and she's been going into bar fights. She's been driving to bars just to feel something, just to have an excuse to kick the shit out of people. And she's not in a very good place. But all that is kind of what makes her character interesting. Like, what made her lead to do all that, which we know. And how her and Chris's relationship was built after season 1. Speaking of John Cena, let's talk about his acting. Him playing Peacemaker is genuinely some of the best stuff that he's ever done. Like, he's pouring his heart and soul into Peacemaker. He's letting James Gunn, write. He's letting James Gunn do whatever he wants to Peacemaker, and he follows along and he trusts the process. And every emotional moment that happens in Peacemaker season 2, John Cena pours his absolute heart and soul into. And John Cena just sells the character. Like, you, season 1 was about making you like Peacemaker, and season 2 is, his emotional, building off of his emotional life, like looking further into his psyche, like I talked about the depression earlier. So that leads along pretty well. And saying that, I mean, John Cena is doing everything The Rock wish he could. I mean, we all remember.
Because the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change.
And we all know how that worked out for him. Now, I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I recorded the rest of this whole video in one take, and when I imported the footage, I realized that I had my fucking microphone muted, so I have to go back and refilm all of this. So if I don't do it as great, I'm just a little frustrated right now, and I completely apologize. So moving to the alternate dimension, the alternate dimension turned out to be Earth X, which is the Nazi dimension from the comics. And going off of that, I didn't even notice like the subtle details at all. Like, I got completely blindsided by this. Like, I didn't even catch on that there were no people of color like in the crowd of civilians, like, at all. I didn't notice the lack of American flags until the big old reveal. Boom, mural of Hitler. Boom, Nazi symbol on the flag. Like, I didn't notice any of that. And like I said, it just completely blindsided me. Now, another thing I like is the lack of cameos. You have the Justice Gang at the very beginning of the season, and you have Lex Luthor halfway through the season. But the thing about that is, no one overstayed their welcome. They were just in those episodes. And I really like that. I really do like that. Because nobody overstayed their welcome. You know, we didn't get any, like, cameos in the finale. Like, a lot of people were expecting Superman to show up. And which I'm actually kind of glad Superman didn't show up, because I like the finale, like, as is already. And let me get into that. Bringing the main focus to character development, emotional character bonding and all that stuff, rather than an action cameoed finale. Personally, I found that as a really nice change of pace. Finding out that Amelia did love Chris, and it was something I was looking forward to since the aforementioned thing on the boat. Like, I was wondering what the hell happened on the boat. So we got to that, and finding out what happened on the boat was a nice sense of closure. The last episode is all about bringing the emotional moments between characters coming together to accomplish something better, being checkmate, and them wanting to make the world a better place. And at the very end of the episode, Peacemaker gets sent to Salvation, because while in the last episode they were going through all of the different doors, they come across a door. I said them, sorry. Argus. Whenever Argus was going through all the different doors, they found Salvation. And Rick Flag, completely out of character. I'll get onto that here in a minute. decided to just toss Peacemaker in. I mean, was revenge for killing his son. But this really does make me wonder who the villain of Man of Tomorrow is going to be, because Salvation is the setup for Man of Tomorrow. Um, or at least I assume it is. Salvation is a training planet under Darkseid for the parademons, and in the very end, we do hear some insectoid noises going on. So I don't really know what's going on there, other than whether it's gonna tease Darkseid, like kind of lean into the Darkseid side. I mean, whether it's one of his right hand people like Steppenwolf or Granny Goodness. But since Steppenwolf already appeared in the previous DCEU, I don't know if they're going to use Steppenwolf again or if they're going to try and use Granny Goodness this time. But whatever they do, it's a greater threat that James Gunn said that Lex Luthor and Superman have to team up together and come by. Or, just putting it simply, what if it's just Rick Flag? Like, what if Rick Flag, throws betrays Lex and throws him in there, and then somehow gets Superman to go in or something like that in Man of Tomorrow, and then they have to team up and figure out how to get back? Or if it's, teasing that someone like Steppenwolf or Granny Goodness will come through. But the thing is, if Lex gets sent to Salvation, that means he'll learn the boom tube technology that Darkseid has. Because remember, Lex Luthor is the smartest man on the planet. So that would be kind of interesting to see in Superman Men of Tomorrow. But, we'll just have to wait and see what happens and who really is the true villain of Man of Tomorrow. Now, moving to the things that I don't like. James Gunn making Peacemaker at the same time as Superman. So, making Superman at the same time as Peacemaker Season 2, this results to shorter episodes, which kind of makes that lead to a pacing problem. Which, don't get me wrong, the finale does have a bit of a pacing problem, but overlooking it, it's still a great episode in my opinion. And a good way to end off some things. But you have these episodes that start out, the first two episodes are like 40 minutes long, and then the rest of the season is just 30-minute long episodes. And then you get to the season finale, and it's 57 minutes long. And it's just like, what the hell happened there? You know what I mean? I think, if he didn't film it at the same time as Superman, he could have given Peacemaker a little bit more love, and he could have cooked up some storylines, had some character development moments. I mean, there's a side story with Adebayo talking to her partner, or her previous partner, saying that they're not, meant for each other and stuff like that. But that could have been solved, like, so early on, because it's shown to us very early on. And that whole thing could have just been wrapped up earlier in the season. I mean, having to wait until the very end to see that was just not necessary. And coming around, having to wait for that to come full circle, like, from start to end, it was just like, why? Like, you could spread out some things and give more love to other episodes, because we spend, like, the first, I think, 3 or 4 episodes of just trying to get Chris and just Peacemaker going back and forth, but it's just Argus trying to get Chris for, like, the first 4 episodes. And then you have the gang going back and getting Peacemaker, and and that leading into the finale, which I still do really like. But like those four first episodes didn't have to focus on just trying to get Peacemaker. It could have been like character building and more scenes like that. It could have been given love, and I think being filmed next to Superman just kind of messed that all up. Now, something something that I mentioned earlier about Rick Flag is the sudden breakneck change of him being like Amanda Waller. Don't know what the hell is going on there. Because if you remember in Creature Commandos, his whole thing was he didn't want to be like Waller at all. And in the Peacemaker season 2 finale, it's just like he's literally partying with Lex Luthor's like people, and he said in Superman that he does not like Lex Luthor at all. And in season 1 of Creature Commandos, there's only one season, sorry. In Creature Commandos, I mean, we showed that he's smart on the battlefield. I mean, he's not always smart. He was completely blindsided by the princess. But, coming together, it just doesn't really fit his character at all. He kind of literally became the one thing he said he wouldn't become, which was exactly like Amanda Waller. Now, I don't know if this was done on purpose to show his true colors or what, or if it's setting up something different like mind control or it being Clayface. I mean, who the hell knows? But for me, it just doesn't really make that much sense to me. Now, follow-up questions that people may have. Do I think it's just filler to get to Man of Tomorrow? No. I don't think Season 2 was just filler to get to Man of Tomorrow. Now, what I think Season 2's main goal was at the end of the season, leading into the finale, was getting Checkmate out there, because James Gunn said he did always want to incorporate Checkmate, and he did that through Vigilante's drug and blood money. And they open Checkmate to be a better to make the world better. So, I mean, it leaves some open ideas. It's not like a straight line into just Man of Tomorrow. Like, it leaves open ideas for a possible season 3. Now, James Gunn did say that he has no plans of season 3 at the moment. Note that I said at the moment, because while I am a little bit sad that we have no idea if Peacemaker is going to get a third season, but I'm gonna let James Gunn, cook a little bit more with the DCU. I mean, you can't make one thing and then call it like a full course meal. You know what I mean? Like leaving Peacemaker off on a huge cliffhanger by Rick Flag throwing Peacemaker onto Salvation really makes me think that they're going to introduce Peacemaker into Man of Tomorrow, because I assume we're going to visit Salvation in Man of Tomorrow and get more on that. And it was just revenge to, revenge for killing his kid. But James Gunn did say that nothing's off the table, so there could not be a season 3. There could be a season 3. It's just best not to think about it right now, looking at the bigger picture and not just Peacemaker. So, going off of that, that wraps it up for today's video. Um, I don't know when Stefan's going to upload, but we're going to try and get the podcast out to you guys either this week or next week. We film on Thursday, or sometimes we film on Wednesday and then post it on Thursday. But other than that, we will keep you tuned in. All right, that's it. Goodbye.